Hi everyone, and welcome to Food Friends Family, hosted by me, Chef Paul Lillakas. In this brand new series, we'll prepare some top-notch, flavorful dishes and drinks that you can prepare for your family and friends. Because, let's face it, after 1 or 2 years, that's not right. After 2 years of lockdown, let's face it, we have forgotten how to cook for more than 1 or 2 people. Before I get started, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below, and don't forget to share this video. I love a brunch gathering, so today I'm going to be making a beautiful fruit salad with a sour honey vinaigrette. What the hell? Now, I love a brunch gathering, so today I'm going to be making a beautiful brunch salad with a sour honey dressing, a blueberry elderflower lemonade, and the star of the show, puffy fluffy mini quiche. Brunch is one of my favorite meals to prepare because it implies that a really fun group is gathering, often after a very fun occasion. It features satisfying food, both salty and sweet. If I'm preparing food, I don't want to be away from my guests for too long, so I'm preparing dishes that aren't too fussy, but are impressive and come to the table, make everybody excited and relaxed. We're going to start with the fruit salad because this can be made way in advance and held in the fridge till it's ready to serve. So the fruit salads of my youth were always delicious, but always rather sad, tossed together. So all the fruit becomes very bruised and almost mushy. So this beautiful fruit salad is not going to be that at all, but rather it'll be a composed salad. Each ingredient layered onto a platter so you can take special care in how you present them and dressed on top. Let's start with the dressing for this salad, which is going to be based with green grapes. Nice tart green grapes, which I'm going to halve, exposing the inner flesh. So about 2 cups of those. Just take your time. I like using a little serrated knife. Just makes it easy. You can hold it in your hand like this. I actually used to make this, just the grapes, just the marinated grapes, as a dessert at a kids camp, and they would go crazy for them. They'd look at it and say like, what's this? Just green grapes. And then as soon as they ate it, you'll see, just with a few little ingredients, it becomes something incredible. Okay, so that's great. Now we have about 2 cups of sliced grapes, and now we're just gonna flavor them. So a few little ingredients. I've got some of my homemade vanilla. This is nothing more than split vanilla beans with 40% vodka, left to age in my pantry for a long time. 8 weeks to a year or more. So just about a half a teaspoon of that. You don't need much. It's just an accent flavor. And now we're going to also sweeten it with some honey because these are tart grapes. We're also going to add some lemon. So I'm adding a good amount of clover honey. Any kind of wildflower honey is great. And some lemon. So I'm just going to give that a little roll, release some of the juices, and a little bit of that zest. Not a ton, just a little bit. These are accent flavors. A little bit will go a long way. And some juice. Remember, catch the seeds. That's great. Now, I'm just gonna give this a little toss, and we're gonna leave this to macerate. Some of the juice will come out of those grapes, and this is going to create our dressing. All right, and we're just gonna leave that to marinate while we prep our other fruits. Honeydew melon. You'll notice this recipe has a lot of green fruits. I picked them purposely because I want some nice color contrast. So a little bit of honeydew melon. I'm going to show you how I like to clean it. Knock the top off, cut it in half, and we're gonna scoop these seeds right out. Try not to get rid of too much of the flesh because some of the sweetest flesh is this right here. So gently scooping that out. And now we're gonna get rid of that rind. So put it large side down. This is the way to keep it safe. Clean your work area, and using a nice sharp knife, we're going to slice down the edge. And we're working in bits here. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want to waste any. So it's better to work slow and steady than to try to rush through it. A sharp knife makes all the difference. All right, now there are 3 ways I like to keep my knives sharp at home. I have my honing steel, my pull-through sharpener, and my Japanese whetstones. My honing steel, this is for everyday use. You hold it firm in one hand and drag the blade on either side a few times, maybe 10 or 20 times. You don't have to go super fast. You can go nice and slow, and that just lines up those hairs, those little fibers of metal on the edge of your blade, giving you a sharper edge. For something that's a little more once in a while, my pull-through sharpener. I position it firm on a table and position my blade in it, and I want to keep it nice and straight. So when I'm looking down, I don't want to see either edge. Pull through just like that, maybe 10 times or so, and you find that gives you a nice edge as well. Now, for something more involved, I use every once in a while my Japanese whetstones. These are a little more involved, and that's a whole tutorial on its own. So I recommend, if you're interested in that, either take a class or watch a video series, because that's a whole nother video series. And if you don't have time for that, or you don't have the desire, take your knives, get them professionally sharpened, but always keep your knives nice and sharp. It'll make you a much better cook. So that's about it. Getting rid of all the white parts. And now straight down the middle into nice thin slices, so that when we're plating, it will fan out beautifully. And you could take these right to your platter. So nice shapes, and right onto there. In the end, it will come together kind of like a painting. I know it seems fussy, but it's really just taking the time to treat each piece separately, just like that. It doesn't look like much yet, but trust me. Okay, now it's time for some pink grapefruit. This is going to make a beautiful contrast. Citrus in a fruit salad is wonderful, but if you prepare it this way, it really looks gorgeous. So we're going to knock the top and the bottom up. Again, I like to use a serrated knife. It makes it so much easier. Just a nice pliable steak knife. Just knock the top off so you can see the inside. Knock the bottom off. And now we're going to do basically the same thing we did with the melon. We're just going to start to remove that outer peel slowly. You don't want to waste any of that fruit. So remove any more of that pith, the bitter white part, and then flip it over and see if there's any more on the bottom that needs to be taken off. This one looks pretty good. Now we're just going to cut this into thin medallions, and look how pretty those are. Remove any seeds. You want to make this as easy to eat for your company as possible. So taking the time to do this means that it's a simple fork and knife fruit salad that they can just serve and eat. No fuss. Don't forget to keep tossing your grapes. This is the dressing, so we want lots of that juice coming out the bottom. Coming out the bottom. That doesn't sound good at all. Let's do our kiwis now. Okay, important tool. I highly recommend you get yourself a serrated peeler. If you want to peel soft fruits, serrated peel makes your life so much easier. Just get all that peel off the outside. Leave the ends on for now because it makes it easier to hold. Just give those a peel. Simple. We're going to do the exact same thing. Get them peeled, slice them nice and thin, fan them out, and add them to our plate. Back to our dressing. So at the bottom here, we've got several tablespoons of this. That's the good stuff. So I'm going to give that a little taste. It's delicious, it's tangy, it's sweet, it's got tartness, acidity, a little bit of that vanilla, and a nice freshness from the lemon. I'd say that's ready to go. Let's finish this salad and we can dress it. Also, keep a towel on hand. If your edge of your platter is getting a little dirty, take the time, clean it up a little. We're making a beautiful salad. You don't want it ruined by little spots. Okay, now we're gonna add some berries, some blackberries, and a nice presentation that you can do with these is it also just cut them in half. And they have this really beautiful look. And then just place them around. You could do it with just a few if you want to. A little bit here. It shows you kind of another side of a berry that's so familiar, but very dark in color. Okay, and now for our green grape dressing. Give it one final stir. Make sure they're all kind of coated in that dressing. And then we're just going to make little piles of that around, and a little bit of fresh mint on top. You don't need a ton, just a little bit of torn mint. There we go. Man, it's so much nicer than fruit in a cup. And there you go. Beautiful composed fruit salad with a nice sour dressing. Now I can just take this to the fridge and leave it there while I work on the other parts of my brunch. Okay, next we're gonna make a delicious spiked lemonade. This gets floral notes from elderflower syrup and a beautiful pinkish hue from frozen blueberries. And you can make this the night before, so it's ready to go whenever you're ready to eat. Eat, drink. Let's start with our freshly squeezed lemon juice, 1.5 cups. Use freshly squeezed if you can. It's so much better. You get all that natural oil from the rind. It's so much better than the bottled stuff. So that goes right in. And then I've already made some simple syrup. So this is just equal parts granulated sugar and water. Heat it up until it's clear and that sugar's dissolved. You can do it on the stovetop or you can do it in the microwave. So that goes right in to balance with sweetness. Next, we're gonna add our elderflower syrup. A little goes a long way. You really only need about 1/4 cup of this. It's also sweet, so we're just gonna add a few glugs of that. That's all you need. And now, if you wanna make it a spiked vodka, like I always do, I'm gonna add about 6 ounces of vodka. That's pretty good. Okay. That goes right in. And we're gonna add some frozen blueberries. Now the reason I add frozen blueberries, first of all, they act as ice, and secondly, the freezing breaks down that skin, which helps them start to release some of their juice, and they will give this a beautiful color. Look, as soon as it hits the liquid, it gives it a beautiful pinkish tone. That'll get even darker. And now we're just gonna top up with water, leaving a little bit of room for ice. But we're not gonna add the ice until it's time to serve. So if you're making this the night before, give it a stir. I always like to, look at that color, it's beautiful. I always like to add a wooden spoon when I'm serving a lemonade so that you can always stir it before you pour it. Make sure if it's diluted, it gets mixed up again. And finally, a little bit of garnish, some fresh lemon slices, just a few. And you don't want any seeds in there, so certainly get rid of those. There's nothing more annoying than getting a little seed in your glass of lemonade. And those go right in. All right, just one quick stir and then into the fridge just to sit until we need it.
It was pretty good except for the last one.
Well, it's heavy. No, it's not heavy. It's a weird to open.
More room? Here, there.
Or,
It's more room, that is so funny.
yeah, okay, let's, sorry. Okay, just one quick stir and then into the fridge. All right, so next we're gonna make our puffy, fluffy mini quiche. These are impressive and easier to make than traditional mini quiche because we're gonna use frozen butter puff pastry. This recipe makes 12, so it's perfect for 6 people. So let's get going and make our custard. So this recipe calls for 5 extra large eggs, which I'm just gonna crack right into my bowl. Now we're just gonna flavor our eggs simply with some sea salt, some cracked black pepper, some sliced green onions. This will add freshness, and crumbled bacon. So this is nice, crisp, already fried. That goes right in. Some heavy whipping cream. And some finely shredded Asiago cheese. And I'm going to whip this all together. Okay, and that's all there is to it. If you need bacon bits for a dish, do yourself a favor, chop the bacon ahead of cooking it. It makes it so much easier. You don't have to break up the slices and you can cook an entire pound at the same time. So into a preheated pan. And I love a silicone spatula, just get it moving. Those bits will break up and you can just baste it in its own rendered fat. Trust me, this is a much faster way to get the job done. And now this burns quickly, so keep an eye on it. When it gets to this point, I turn it right down. Get yourself a plate lined with paper towel, and a strainer with a handle, also known as a spider, is a great tool for this. There's so much rendered fat, it's almost hard to see the bits, but you can see that the color is turning to a nice deep red. That's what we're looking for. We don't want to cook this too much longer, so off the heat, and that is done. Straight onto our prepared paper towel lined plate to drain. And there you go, a perfectly cooked whole pound of bacon bits in minutes. Now don't throw this fat away. I like to keep mine in a mason jar in the fridge. This lasts for a long time and you can use it for everything. Frying onions, frying pork chops, frying steak. You can cook all kinds of things in this bacon lard. It's delicious, it's a great ingredient. So don't throw that away. Okay, now it's time to make our pastries, or rather just prepare and shape them. So, like I said, we're using frozen butter puff pastry. I love these 10 by 10 sheets that are already rolled up so they're very easy to cut, and they come on parchment paper. So I'm just rolling this out here, and I've already sprayed my 12-cup muffin tin. It's just a good idea. You don't want anything sticking. Now, use a pizza cutter. This makes this so much easier. We're gonna cut each one into 6 rectangles. So once down the center, and then twice just like this. They don't have to be perfect, but you do wanna work quickly and with cold hands. If your hands are really warm, run them under some cold water. So what I wanna do is just pinch them to pull them into not quite a circle, but just pull them out a little bit, because we're going to press them down into our muffin tins like so. You want them to go all the way to the bottom, but then press along the sides to bring them up around the edges. The less you touch them, the better. So a little bit of practice goes a long way. That's perfect. And then just repeat with all of them. I'm keeping my other sheet cold in the fridge while I do the first 6. But this is all there is to it. Pull it, press it, and bring it up the sides. All right, now it's time to fill them. Each one's gonna get exactly 3 tablespoons of our custard mixture. So I'm gonna give each one 2 tablespoons to start, and then we'll go back and distribute all that good stuff that's fallen at the bottom. And I've already preheated my oven to 375. These will puff up beautifully in the oven. You want to serve these as fast as possible. So this is the last thing that I make, and these go right to the table. Perfect. Okay, now all these need is a little egg wash, and in this case, it's built right in. So I just take my pastry brush, dip it in, and get a little bit of egg on that pastry. That'll give it a nice, glistening, professional finish. Okay, that's it. These are perfect, ready for the oven. About 20 to 30 minutes, keep a close eye. These go from done to burnt very quickly. Man, this looks amazing, but if you want even more ideas on how to set a beautiful brunch table, check out my good friend, designer Sarah Gunn's new series, Tablescapes. Between my recipe ideas and her table setting ideas, we've got you covered. Oh man, this meal has everything between the savoriness of the puffy, fluffy mini quiche and the beautiful sweetness, tartness, and balance of this composed fruit salad, and of course, a spiked blueberry elderflower lemonade. Check out that color. As soon as you serve that to your friends, you're gonna be a winner. So enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and of course, share this video. Thank you for watching. Now, let's cut a bite. This is really like a 4-bite quiche, I think. Careful, careful. This is gonna be pretty. It is good. That's it. Just grab a quiche and just like mow into it.
And bite into it?
Yeah. No, don't turn it around.
Look at that face.
Oh, good.